8 mice were placed inside a perfect world. 4 males, 4 females. Unlimited food, unlimited water. No predators, no disease, no cold nights, no hunger, no reason to fear anything. It was paradise engineered down to the inch. And less than 5 years later, every single mouse inside was dead. Not from infection, not from starvation, not from violence alone. They died from something harder to name. Something invisible. This was Universe 25, one of the most disturbing experiments ever conducted on social life itself. In 1968, American behavioral scientist John B. Calhoun built what he believed would become the perfect mouse civilization. A 9-foot enclosure inside a Maryland research lab. Food dispensers that never emptied, water bottles that never dried up, soft nesting spaces, stable temperature, clean corridors. Every physical need solved before it could even appear. Calhoun had spent over 20 years obsessed with one question. What happens to a society when survival stops being difficult? This wasn't his first experiment. He had already built 24 miniature utopias for rats and mice, forest enclosures, barn colonies, laboratory cities, and every single time, the same pattern appeared. Population growth, social breakdown, violence, isolation, collapse. Universe 25 was supposed to be different, cleaner, more controlled. The final answer. On day 1, he placed 8 mice inside and sealed the enclosure shut. At first, everything looked perfect. The mice explored the tunnels, claimed sleeping spots, and learned the layout of their new world. Then, the first litters arrived. The population doubled every 55 days. By day 315, more than 600 mice lived inside the enclosure. Bodies crowded the ramps. Nests overflowed. Mice climbed over one another constantly. And somewhere around that point, the entire structure of their society began to rot from the inside. In the wild, overcrowding has an escape. Young mice leave, they migrate, they search for territory. But inside Universe 25, there was nowhere else to go. No frontier, no unknown land, no purpose waiting beyond the walls. The young males born into this overcrowded paradise started drifting toward the center of the enclosure. They gathered in piles, doing absolutely nothing. No fighting, no mating, no dominance rituals. They wandered aimlessly, ate, slept, and stared into space. When attacked, many wouldn't even defend themselves. They would absorb the violence, walk a few feet away, and collapse again like their instincts had disconnected completely. At the same time, another type of male appeared. Hyperactive, aggressive, broken in the opposite direction. They charged into nests randomly, attacked without warning, and ignored every normal social behavior mice had evolved over thousands of years to follow. Courtship disappeared. Territory lost meaning. Violence no longer served any purpose except itself. Then the females began withdrawing too. Some climbed into the highest apartments and isolated themselves completely. They stopped socializing, stopped mating, stopped raising young properly. Mothers abandoned pups scattered across the enclosure floor. Some forgot which babies belonged to them. Others attacked their own offspring. In the worst cases, mothers began eating their young. Entire generations collapsed before adulthood. In some parts of the colony, fewer than 5% of newborns survived. Calhoun called a part of this collapse the behavioral sink. Even though food was available everywhere, the mice crowded compulsively around a few feeding stations while the others remained untouched. Their instincts had become distorted beyond repair. The colony still had resources. What it no longer had was structure. Then came the strangest group of all. A generation Calhoun later called the beautiful ones. These mice never fought, never courted females, never defended territory, never participated in society at all. They spent their days eating, sleeping, and obsessively grooming themselves. Their fur remained spotless because they never risked conflict. They looked healthier than every other mouse in the enclosure. Perfect on the outside, completely disconnected on the inside. They were physically alive but socially extinct. By day 50, the population peaked at 200 mice. It never grew again. The final successful birth happened on day 920. After that, reproduction stopped completely. The colony slowly aged toward extinction. The beautiful ones kept grooming themselves. The isolated females remained hidden in the upper apartments. Violence continued in meaningless bursts below. And eventually, one by one, the mice died. On May 23, 1973, the last mouse in Universe 25 died alone. Calhoun later wrote that the colony experienced 2 deaths. First, the death of the spirit. Then the death of the body. The first happened long before the second. Most people interpreted the experiment as a warning about comfort. Too much ease destroys societies. Too much abundance makes people weak. But that wasn't Calhoun's real conclusion at all. His actual warning was darker. The collapse didn't happen because the mice had too much. It happened because they no longer had meaningful roles. No territory to earn, no purpose to inherit, no reason to struggle toward anything. Their instincts evolved for a world that demanded participation. And when participation became unnecessary, the entire social fabric dissolved. The food never disappeared, the water never disappeared, meaning disappeared. And strangely, Calhoun wasn't hopeless about it. He spent the rest of his career trying to figure out how societies could survive abundance without collapsing into apathy. He believed humans still had something the mice didn't: the ability to create new forms of purpose, new roles, new ideas, new reasons to matter. The mice never had that choice, we still do.